Hey guys, it's Kim here and Happy New Year! I have just returned from Japan. I've had a very long break, what feels like a very long break out there, but I'm back now, and while I get into the swing of things and get things booted up on my channel, I thought one of the things I could do perhaps to ease myself in is tell you a little bit about what I got up to while I was out there. I was over in Japan on holiday, so nothing gaming related, no kind of gaming news to bring to you or anything like that. But I did do a little bit of filming here and there. And one of the first things I want to talk to you about is my trip to Osaka. Osaka is sort of mid-Japan. It's a few hours away from Tokyo on the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train. And I went there with my friends and we spent like a weekend there. And it was, you know, one of my favorite places to go. I think I definitely prefer Osaka to Tokyo, mainly because it felt a lot more fun. Osaka was a lot more colourful. People were a lot more smiley and a lot more kind of, you saw a lot more of the weirder fashions and that kind of thing there. So one of the first places we went to was Shinsaibashi, which is sort of like a kind of shopping arcade area. Really not out of place in any main city. Lots of Western labels like Lush and H&M and that kind of thing, you know, nestled among all the Japanese shops. Another part of Osaka is Denden, which is essentially like Tokyo's Akihabara. That's the kind of electric district, so it's where most kind of gaming nerds go to if they ever see Tokyo. It's where, you know, in Akihabara in Tokyo is sort of where you can get all your gaming gear or your General Electrics, that kind of thing. But yeah, Denden, the Denden area in Osaka is the same kind of thing. You know, so full of shops, like packed with gaming merchandise. Like there was a store that was full of Persona merchandise, and oh my god, like my friends lost me in it because I just was like in there. And it was really tiny and, you know, cramped, and I was knocking everything over with my backpack, but I squeezed in and I got a couple of presents for the guys back home. One of my favourite shops in Denden was Super Potato. Super Potato is essentially this really well-known retro gaming shop that has all the gaming gear you could ever need. They had piles and piles of Famicoms, Super Famicoms, that's NES and SNES to the Westerners, shrink-wrapped and still working, and all the games as well. Game Boy games, you know, Game Gear games, any kind of console, any format at all you can think of, they had it, you know, and it was still working. So if you have a fetish for Game Boy games like I do, you can absolutely fill your boots. One of the things that I loved seeing was older versions of Final Fantasy. So they had plenty of original box copies of Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did actually treat myself. I decided, you know, I'm a big fan of the Secret of Mana series, and there's one game, Seiken Densetsu 3, that never made it out in the West. I actually played it from a fan translation. But when I was in Super Potato, I managed to find a lovely copy there. I'll give you a better shot of that. It even comes with a special edition sticker. So yeah, Seiken Densetsu 3 on the Super Famicom. I'm never going to be able to play it. I'm never going to take it out of the shrink wrap. But there you go. That was a little kind of guilty treat for myself. Yeah, look, it's back in the Squaresoft days as well, where it was Squaresoft and not Square Enix. So yeah, so that was the Denden area. One of the other places I visited was the Pokémon Center. Now, I've already been to the Pokémon Center in Tokyo, and the one in Osaka is way bigger. And oh my god, you know, as soon as the elevator opened and I was, you know, I got out, it was just a floor full of tiny screaming Japanese kids and me just going absolutely mental. There is wall-to-wall Pokemon merchandise. A lot of it is related to Pokemon XY, which is great because it means that the originals like Charmander, Bulbasaur and Squirtle are back, so it was great to see plushy versions of those guys, as well as Chespin, Froakie and Fennekin. Of course, I couldn't resist, so I helped myself and I got myself a little Charmander. Hey, look at how cute that is! And here's Bulbasaur and Squirtle as well. So I have my original starters. Like, you know, back when I was a kid and I first watched, you know, Pokemon, I never dreamed that eventually I would be going to Japan and just going to a Pokemon Center filled with my old buddies. So yeah, I couldn't resist and I helped myself to these guys. The amount of merchandise they had was insane. Like literally anything you thought you'd want it was there, like face towels, cloths, ring dividers, phone charms, all that kind of things. I got myself a little phone charm. Now this is really funny because it's actually an Osaka sort of related one. So he's got Osaka written on the back there, and he's covered, Oshwart there is covered in a little kind of food treat that's local to Osaka. I also got myself some little towels. I don't know why. Look at how cute that is. I couldn't resist, so I got that one, and I got this one as well, like a little Pikachu one. Just get the label out there. Yeah, and I also got myself some biscuits as well, so I could not resist. You know, cookie giving, a big thing in Japan, and so this is like a biscuit tin, but because my luggage got so full, I actually ate all the biscuits inside it, so I could fit some little trinkets in there, so it was better for my luggage. So there you go, very lovely biscuit tin. The biscuits are very nice too. And also, what I love is that everything comes in these Pokémon branded bags. Look at that! Look at how amazing that is! That's so cool. So the Pokémon Center, absolutely one of my favourite things to go and visit. It was, like I said, it was just absolutely full of tiny children just exploding with joy everywhere. And also in one of the corners they had loads of people just playing, you know. My DS went street pass crazy out there. Because, you know, everyone was kind of swapping, fighting, battling, you know, so a really cool atmosphere. Weirdest things I found in there, weirdest merchandise, was a Pikachu scent. So they had these wooden things that smelled like Pikachu, apparently. It smelled nice, and I very nearly bought it, but then I realised what I was buying. And also Pokémon macaroni pasta, that was a bit odd as well, eating Pokémon, bit strange. But yeah, so absolutely, you know, if you're in Osaka, if you're in Tokyo, absolutely recommend you go to the Pokemon Center. They even play the Pokemon Center music there, which is insane. You know, it's so surreal, and I imagine it probably drives shopping attendance like crazy. But yeah, so that was the Pokemon Center. Other thing I went to go and see in Osaka was the Umeda Sky Garden. Now, this is an absolutely massive skyscraper, as well it should be, because it's actually an observation platform. So you go all the way up it, you know, through elevators, escalators, and you get all the way to the top, and you have this absolutely amazing view of Osaka. We went up at night, so I'd love to go up again during the daytime. And one thing that I found really, really sweet that was up there was similar to something in Germany, in Cologne, was a wall of padlocks where you could put a padlock with your, you know, partner's name on it, and you know, it would mean your love would be eternal and forever. And I thought that was really, really sweet. It was really nice seeing couples up there, you know, snuggling up. One of the other things I saw on my second day in Osaka was the Osaka Aquarium. Now, I absolutely love aquariums. I've seen so many all over the world, from massive ones like the one in San Francisco to really teeny tiny ones like the one in Weston-super-Mare, which isn't really a aquarium, it's more like a collection of fish tanks. But yeah, I absolutely love aquariums, and this one I think is the second biggest in the world, or at least one of the bigger aquariums in the world, and oh my god, I was not disappointed. It was huge, and I was so surprised by what they had in there. They had otters, both sea otters and small-clawed land otters. They had all kinds of penguins. They even had monkeys, like in the Amazonian display. They had monkeys above the kind of huge Amazonian fish. They had sharks, rays, manta rays, sea lions, seals, dolphins, and the main attraction was the central tank that had 2 whale sharks in it. Whale sharks! Absolutely mental. These things are huge, you know. And what's even weirder to think is that they only eat plankton. And, you know, as a testimony to how big these things are, they fed some of the whales while I was there. This whale was going up to the top of the tank and just sucking in the plankton, and it was like it created a little kind of typhoon vortex. Terrifying stuff. That's how big and strong these animals are. The whole place was full of tiny, tiny children, so it did get a bit crowded and quite pushy in places, which I found a little bit unusual because, you know, I mainly know the Japanese to be a very kind of polite culture, and even in Tokyo when I've been in crowded places, you still do get personal space and the sort of, you know, nobody really pushes you. But here it was completely different with, you know, younger children especially. And I heard that's because younger children are a little bit more spoiled over in Japan, I guess because, you know, they're going to have a tough time in high school and stuff like that coming up. So the kids were a little bit pushy, and there were lots of points where I was getting knocked over or like head butted in the kneecaps or anything like that. But yeah, anyway, my favourite thing that I saw apart from the whale sharks was this adorable seal. They had a tank in the ceiling, so the bottom of the tank you were looking up at in the ceiling, and they had this sail that was just like blorping away there, just lying on his belly, just looking like the fattest, happiest thing in the world, just sort of lying there like bleh. So he was adorable. Like, I absolutely loved him. One of the things I always do whenever I go to an aquarium is I get these little coins made up. So I got two because I couldn't decide on the design. I got one of the whale shark, I'll give you a better shot in a minute, and one of a sea otter, just having a chill out there as well. I've got so many of these from all around, you know, mostly UK. But yeah, so again, Osaka, if you're ever in Osaka, totally recommend the aquarium. It is surprising how big it is. There was one point where I got to the end and I was pretty sure that was it, and then I had several more floors of seals and jellyfish and cuttlefish and squid to go through. So yeah, that's the highlights from my Osaka part of the trip. We also did go and do karaoke until 3:30 in the morning, but yeah, thankfully I don't have any footage of that because it was a bit off key, but it definitely a lot of fun. So Osaka, oh my god, just such an amazing time. So that's it for this video. Join me next time. I'll be talking about some of the more traditional parts of Japan and what I got up to on New Year's Eve, which is actually a lot less sordid than that sounds. But yeah, from me and my new Charmander, bye!